Ghosts of Hiroshima, or Hiroshima, depending. This is one of those potato things. I always grew up with it being Hiroshima. Mm-hmm. But it's Hiroshima.
Hiroshima.
Right? Yeah, I mean, she's the one who studies Japanese, so you should know the proper pronunciation. But you've heard it both ways many times, right?
Yeah.
But I always grew up with Hiroshima. Anyway, this is a found footage film. We haven't watched one of these in a little while. Mm-hmm. We went on a freaking tear of watching like 35 in a row and did so many of them. But we took a little break, a little hiatus, and we jumped on this one. This is currently on none other than Tubi, as expected.
Tubi.
And it follows a guy who inherits a property. He's from America. He inherits a property in Japan, and he flies out to collect on this inheritance. And when he gets there, he finds that the last will and testament includes a clause that says that he has to spend one night, 24 hours, in this location before the property is officially his. Mm-hmm. Now, this guy is a electronics vlogger, and he reviews cameras. So he brings along his brand new camera that he wants to review, and he's going to film Japan and his experience with the inheritance and everything, and he's just going to make a video out of it, which is actually a pretty cool way to explain why he's filming things.
Yes.
You know, they have usually a bunch of different ways they go about it, like, oh, I heard something in the night, so I'm going to film from this point on. The fact that he, like, specifically reviews cameras mm-hmm. and wants to film everything to, showcase the camera's abilities mm-hmm. In night vision and all these different ways, I thought was really neat. And it also showed that he's tech savvy and everything. So I really liked that explanation. So anyways, yeah, he gets there. He meets this real estate agent girl, and she tells him he's got to spend the night, and he does, and it doesn't go so well. So
that's true.
Overall, I actually really liked this movie. I have questions for sure that I don't have answers to yet. I don't know if the answers will ever be there. There are a couple things where I was like, why would this happen if this, or whatever, those kinds of things. But I did really enjoy this. I thought there was a really cool, I thought there was a cool premise. Obviously, Hiroshima is a tragic, awful event, and playing with kind of the repercussions of that, and the fact that ghosts came out of that.
Yeah.
Because we always do that in movies, right? Where like somebody was wronged and,
sure.
and they feel like they want to get vengeance or something. It's like, I mean, I can't think of many events worse than that where people would want vengeance or whatever. What did you think? We haven't really talked about this movie at all, so I don't know where you stand on it.
Yeah, I liked it. I agree with you. I think that the premise is really cool. I think that it's got a great setup, and it is very low budget. But despite that, I think that there's some pretty effective, like, creepy scenes, jump scare type stuff, and then just there's a really cool, like, visual that appears a few times in the film towards the end that I thought was really effective, and I was pretty freaked out by it. So I liked all of that. I did kind of dislike the performance of the real estate agent in this, but I can't really get a read, because we talked about it a little bit. I can't really tell if it's because, like, real estate agents sometimes do kind of come off this sort of, like, salesman-y, fake type of way. So I'm not sure if that's what the actress was going for, or what, but I just kind of, I couldn't really get behind her performance that much. But despite that, I still think that it was a pretty cool film. I don't know if I'll rewatch it. I mean, maybe, but I wasn't disappointed with anything. I liked the conclusion. And then, like I said, I think that there's some effective stuff throughout. And as you already said, the setup for why he's filming, that's a really good, solid explanation, which is important to have, I think, in these found footage movies. I also think that it's neat that aside from a few shots in the beginning that show Japan, the location, I think, might not be in Japan.
Oh yeah,
which again on a low budget is neat that they're able to accomplish that, because they already get you thinking like, oh, we're going to Japan, we're in Japan, and then you're in like Iowa or something.
Yeah.
Which is cool. But
yeah, I also, I mean, speaking of performances, the main guys was fine, but I really enjoyed the performance of this Japanese man who is recounting his, his day of the Hiroshima atomic bomb being dropped on his city, and him coming home after the blast and finding his parents, and his description of things and his recounting of the events. I thought all that stuff was very effective, and really added to the film a lot. And I think that works really well. And I think that the horror, like when you see the ghosts, I think that stuff works really well.
Yeah.
So the idea behind the movie, the performance of the Japanese man's tapes that he finds, and the ghosts when they're seen are the highlights of the film, and I think are what really make this film work. As far as the main, he carries the film enough. Like he gets it from this point to that point. Like he's not terrible. He's not like overly likable or overly interesting. It's just kind of like he's there and he does a well enough job to like get you from this cool thing to that cool thing.
Yeah.
And then the real estate agent girl, I think, I don't know. I don't know whether she was hired because of her looks, or if that really is just how she was wanting to play it and it just came off as unappealing. But people like that can be unappealing.
Sure.
Yeah, she
wasn't like a horrible actress at all. It's not really that. It's just there was
the dialogue
like
felt
a
forced.
staleness, to it. But again, I've talked to some people that like were real estate agents that felt really fake, and like just it's that like lack of, like she's saying these things like niceties, but there's no emotion behind it really, other than like a false emotion.
I'll agree to an extent. The only reason I will disagree is, and I'm sure you'll agree with me when I say this as well, that works up until a point in the story.
Yeah.
There's also a point in the story where she's being more herself and real, because she divulges some information. And that to me still felt the same as the real estate agent. It just felt kind of stale.
You're right.
So I just think it was not a great performance. But that being said, my questions do have to deal with her, and the fact that she's not supposed to do something, and I'm not really understanding that. I don't really get her inclusion or involvement with what's going on there.
Yeah.
That's one of my biggest questions. And then also my other question would be like, why him?
Sure. Yeah, I feel the same way. And I don't really have an answer to either of them. I could kind of make an answer to the why him.
I mean, I
part,
can just give one of those vague, like, oh, it's just because. And it's like, okay, I guess. Right? So,
yeah. But
anyway.
It was a good watch.
Yeah,
I enjoyed
for
it
found
sure.
footage fans, definitely check it out. It's a recommendation if you're a hardcore found footage fan.
Yes.
It was enjoyable.
Yes.
So, let us know.
Bye.